Welcome to episode 54 of Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson.
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And today we are talking about The Defiant Ones from 1958. It received 9 nominations at the 31st Academy Awards. For me, and I think for you, a bit underwhelming.
Yeah. I've heard, for a while, this is one of the definitive films to kind of represent race relations in America in the first half of the 20th century. And while it does go there, I feel like it kind of shifts focus quite a bit and doesn't really have much of a point. Like there isn't really a goal here. It's kind of just watching these two convicts kind of shuffle around to, set location to set location. And yeah, I from knowing, being familiar with Stanley Kramer's work, I kind of expected a bit more from this.
Yeah, for sure. This is a film neither of us had seen, right? Obviously. And we've kind of played with the idea of rewatching stuff the past few episodes. Like Anatomy of a Murder and African Queen. Those are movies that we already had an opinion on. But this one is the one we're going in blind. And like you said, I had the exact same kind of expectations because of what people said about it being kind of this, 50s movie that obviously, got Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis, and they're just kind of just together the whole time. And that can either work really well, like a movie where it revolves around a relationship, a friendship, or it can just get kind of dull and boring. This reminded me a lot of Green Book, like so much. I was like, this is okay. And the performances are pretty awesome, but I'm not really like what there's not a whole lot to chew on here. And I feel like a lot of Oscar movies that I watch give me that energy after I watch them, where I'm just kind of like, okay. That's how I felt about a movie we did not that long ago, Places in the Heart, 1984. I was like, that was good. The performances are unbelievable. Everybody's just getting after it. But there's just, at the end of the day, I'm not going to want to rewatch it. And that's how I feel about The Defiant Ones here.
I think a big part of it is really just white filmmakers tackling race always feels kind of half done, like they never want to take a plunge and actually have something to say. Instead, they just kind of glance over it and then, kind of run around like they did, claiming they did something.
It's very much like we can't leave our white audience feeling guilty. So we got to give them something at the end of the day. So when the credits start rolling, they're like, okay, I still feel okay.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I'm not saying for any movie that does this, like you pointed out something great, that it's these kind of established white directors who are like, oh, I need this to be a part of my filmography. Here's my go at it. And yeah, it rarely does it really work. Well, this movie's, again, I don't think it's bad, but it left something to be desired.
What always takes me back to that, to Peter Farrelly's Golden Globes acceptance speech, where he's like, racism is bad and we need to stop it. Like it's some revelation, like he's doing anything, like he's adding anything to the ongoing conversation. And I feel like white filmmakers do this shit all the time, where they're just like, I need to make a racial movie that's positive so I can't, one day be perceived as a racist. It feels like that. Like it's almost them, it's like you're playing tag and you've got one hand on base at all times. Like just, either don't or fucking try.
Yeah. Have some balls, to kind of go out there and say something. I do want to kind of get your general thoughts. We've been in the 50s now for this, our 4th straight week.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the decade in general, just kind of through the Oscar lens?
I enjoy it for the most part. I do think that the films we've chosen, at least, have been pretty reflective of the creativity coming out of Hollywood in the 50s. There's a whole bunch we could have done that would have just been formulaic and pretty much boring. I think we were pretty good with our selection here. I would like to go back at some point, obviously. I think there's a lot, we still have to tackle here.
But
it's difficult because I'm kind of torn on the 50s because there's some like amazing movies that come out of this decade, but so many of them are just encumbered by this ongoing, ball and chain called the Hays Code. And not just that, but also, the American society in the 50s was very divided, very, oriented towards, white society. Films like The Defiant Ones were not plentiful. There weren't a lot of race movies made in the 50s. It just feels like the 50s are a stepping stone to what film needed to become. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the decade is filled with people knocking on the door.
Yeah.
People really, okay, what can we do here? I mean, last week, Rear Window is the perfect example. It's like, man, this guy is really trying to go around every single little scene that we know that is filmmaking, and the rules that were in place at the time. I'm with you. I'm a little, the 50s as a whole, there's still a lot I need to learn. Still so much I need to see, because I'm right now I'm kind of neutral on it. There is so much fluff and so much just kind of said the formulaic, just churning them out to churn them out. But man, some of my, there's a handful of, my top 100 personal favorite films that are from the 50s, and Rear Window is one of them. Anatomy of Murder is one of them. On the Waterfront is one of them.
Yeah.
We got to talk about La Strada, the 10 Commandments. We've done a lot of 50s movies now, but there's still so much more to see, look at, and learn. That's when Stanley Kubrick got introduced to the game of filmmaking, was the 50s, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much to talk about, but also so much boring shit to get through. It's a tough one. It's kind of like looking down a long tunnel with maybe a few lights here and there.
Well, our prep for, next week's Best Picture Showdown has been really trudging through some crap, some stuff that just does not work anymore, some serious fluff. And it reminds you just how valuable these gems are, because they are rare. I mean, just in this little bunch here we've done so far, we've covered Otto Preminger, John Huston, Alfred Hitchcock, and now Stanley Kramer, some of the greatest filmmakers of all time. And I'm glad we got to kind of view the 50s through the lenses of these filmmakers. And next week's no exception. So it's been valuable, I think, to, our growth as film fans and our growth as critics. I love this, this idea to stay here has been a very good idea. And I'm glad we've done this.
Oh, we're going to continue to do it, man. I can't wait. Of course, like you said, next week is a Best Picture Showdown. We'll tell you guys about what year we're going to be doing later on in the episode. And then, and then after that, we're going to do another decade and stay in that for 5 episodes. I feel like it is, for now, I want to do it for a while. I want to try to cover each decade this way.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's good to be patient, to stay somewhere and take your time with it. I've felt a sincere reward from the way we've kind of done this. I feel genuine knowledge kind of going into me, and finding a consistency. And I'm really happy with it, man. It's been awesome. You brought up those filmmakers. Stanley Kramer. He's got to be the first guy we talk about today. We're going to be talking about quite a few individuals here that were maybe nominated for this movie, or for The Defiant Ones, or have other nominations. For Stanley Kramer, he's got a handful. Some movies that we've definitely brought up before. So let's get started with him. He was nominated for Best Picture because he's a producer as well. Of course, Stanley Kramer kind of does everything. Best Picture, High Noon, 1952. That's another movie we got to do, and we both rewatched that, and just kind of it just heightened our love for it, our passion for it. Incredible movie. He's nominated for Best Picture, The Caine Mutiny, also producer on that. that movie's badass. 1954 has a couple to offer there for sure. Pretty cool year. He's nominated for Best Director, The Defiant Ones, 1958. Also nominated for Best Picture, Defiant Ones, 1958. Best Director, Judgment at Nuremberg, 1961. We've talked about this movie before. It's really, I think, the only time. I'll have to think about that for a minute, but off the top of my head, I think it's the only time since I've known you that you've watched a movie at home and just given it a 10.
I think you're right.
Away.
Yeah.
You don't really do that.
I don't. 10s for me are very reserved for personal favorites. You know, Marvel stuff tends to get to me, just like stuff that really wows me and blows me away. And it's incredibly rare that I'll give a film a 10 for the first time out, but I couldn't ignore Judgment at Nuremberg. That film stirred me so much. It's been like 2 years and I still haven't stopped thinking about it. I went out and bought it. It's a beautiful film. It's a harsh film. It's an unforgiving film, and it needs to be. And it was my introduction to Stanley Kramer as a filmmaker. And since then, I've just been like eating his work up. It's unreal. So I'm waiting. I'm counting down the day when we get to do Judgment at Nuremberg on this show. I can't wait.
For sure. I think the 1961 is one of the hardest years to choose between that and The Hustler. I love The Hustler so much. But Judgment at Nuremberg is like you said, it's arguably Stanley Kramer's masterpiece. It's amazing that, you know, a filmmaker can do this, and then, you know, 3 years before it's Defiant Ones. So of course, if like you and I watched Judgment at Nuremberg first and we were blown away by it, our expectations are going to be in a certain place about the man's work. And just gonna be tough to live up to that from here on out.
Yes.
He got an honorary award in 1962. That's, you know, happens a lot because he didn't actually win anything, just a bunch of nominations. So it's like they felt bad. Frustrating. Nominated for Best Picture, 1965, Ship of Fools. He's a producer on that as well. And then his last two nominations are, he was a producer on Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and he also directed that film. That's one we talked about when we did In the Heat of the Night. Obviously Sidney Poitier has now come up on this show because of those two films, and now The Defiant Ones. So kind of cool little circle there of stuff just happening on Oscar Sunday.
What I feel that, you know, having watched The Defiant Ones most recently of Kramer's work, I feel like what he didn't do with race in The Defiant Ones, he brought up in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and kind of in my vision kind of redeemed himself, because I think that film is brilliant. And look, this film, like this list of nominations here doesn't even include Inherit the Wind. Oh, which is exactly
fantastic.
So it's just, he's a guy I had never heard of prior to doing this show, and now I can't stop going into his work. He's so talented.
Yeah, extremely. And the producer stuff is very real. I mean, he has 41 credits for producing, and just constantly wanted to help make movies, be the guy, you know, in the director's chair, like always. And we love those kind of guys who are just kind of dedicated to working and trying their hardest to make good stuff, which is, again, why we're a little disappointed with The Defiant Ones, because you just, you know, when you hear about Inherit the Wind, Judgment Nuremberg, On the Beach, these films, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, you have expectations. I really want to see It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Haven't been able to get to that one, but I would love to see that.
I am definitely going to have to check out Ship of Fools at some point. It's the only one of his nominated films I haven't watched.
Yeah, same.
I think what really, you know, what bummed me out the most about The Defiant Ones is having kind of, you know, seen his, in my opinion, triple threat of Inherit the Wind, Judgment at Nuremberg, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I recognized Kramer as a director who was never afraid to shy away from big issues, you know, to point out things about our society that we should be ashamed of. And I was expecting that level of, you know, like I was expecting that kind of thing for The Defiant Ones. and he just didn't go there. And I don't know if that was he wasn't ready as a filmmaker, or if he had studios breathing down his neck to deliver a white ending, so to speak. I just don't know if I don't know if I can blame Kramer for this, but I know somebody held that film back. Somebody somewhere.
Yeah, and it feels like it is a little bit incomplete, right?
Yeah,
you feel you get that exact sense that someone kind of robbed a bit of the creativity. Yeah, I thought that as the movie ended, I was like, man, I don't know. I kind of thought the ending was interesting, but just the film as a whole didn't impact me like that. But I did think the ending was interesting, an interesting choice that you rarely see from that era of movies, where it's kind of like almost kind of an ambiguous ending. And that's nice to see every once in a while, but the rest of the film does not follow suit. You brought up Inherent the Wind, and that not being a part of Stanley Kramer's, run. It is a part of the run for Nedrick Young and Harold Jacob Smith, the two gentlemen who wrote The Defiant Ones. They also wrote that movie. So clearly Stanley Kramer has his people, right? So that's usually how it is.
I find it very interesting that Nedrick Young was blacklisted. During the Hollywood blacklist. He wrote under the name Nathan E. Douglas. I have to assume Kramer knew that, which is weird because he named names to the to the HUAC. He got a lot of people's careers destroyed back when the blacklist was happening. So it's weird that he would do that and then hire someone who had been named. I think, Kramer was a complex man, clearly.
Yeah, no kidding. And I would love to see someone do kind of a tell-all type documentary or movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's those two guys. They won the Oscar for The Defiant Ones, and then they were nominated for Inherent the Wind. So that's a nice little resume back to back, and kind of a cool partnership for them to be able to write those two movies. The Defiant Ones it won Best Screenplay.
Yeah.
And I believe cinematography. So, and then it has 7 other nominations. Is that what sticks out to you? The cinematography and the screenplay?
Not really, honestly. Cinematography seems pretty basic. I don't see a lot of things happening here, and the screenplay is pretty weak. I mean, the whole bit with the lady who never gets named, she's just Billy's mother, is so strange and out of the blue, but takes up a significant chunk of the last act of the film. I don't know. I feel like exploring more with, Big Sam and his racist town. I want maybe, go a little bit more into that. It felt like they were setting up, like they were constantly setting things up, but no follow through.
Yeah. And it wasn't out of the ordinary, like in a creative way. It was just, what?
Yeah.
What is this? This isn't even like weird, cool, or entertaining. It's just kind of out of place. I think there's a few moments. Sam Levitt, cinematography. I mean, that guy's incredible. I think there's a few things that are kind of cool when they're on the run, really on the run, and in the walk. Specifically, there's some cool stuff happening that was probably really hard to do in the 50s. But I'm with you. For the most part, from point A to point B, it's pretty basic. Right? It's pretty basic the way the film moves and is shot. I don't know. I definitely didn't walk away thinking, oh man. I did walk away thinking, Jesus Christ, Sidney Poitier brings the noise no matter what. Yeah. He has it. 100%. He's fucking fantastic.
I think the screenplay win most likely came from the conversations between Poitier and Curtis, and because those are really the heart of the film, their constant back and forth, kind of understanding each other. That's why this won screenplay, and those bits are great. They both excel in those scenes. I was really surprised that Tony Curtis could bring the pain like this. I mean, I'd seen him in Some Like It Hot. He was a good actor, but I didn't know he could go like he could do this. Props.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither. I'm in the exact same boat. And that Tony Curtis, Theodore Bickle, and Carol Williams, this is their only nomination, is this movie. That's a cool sign for your film, right? If it got a nomination for all these people, and no other movie did that for them. Yeah. That's fascinating. But Sidney Poitier, real important guy, right? Obviously we live in a brutally racist country, and he's just the first guy who broke through, first black guy to just break through, and go ahead and I'm gonna be the lead in these movies because I'm kind of that good. And it makes you wonder how much talent is just totally missed out on, right? Because people are not willing to hire black people. You have just casting crews, all white people, a lot of older males, and it's just, this industry does not reflect how real life looks. There's no diversity. There's no variety at all. There's nothing for certain groups of people to watch, to be inspired by, to see themselves, right?
Yeah.
Now in 2021, we're in a different spot where we're aware of this. This is something we talk about on the internet. This is something we, Oscars so white, boycott the Oscars. This is something that's in the stream of consciousness every day now. And still, you look at the statistics, and it is just so fucking sad how hard it is for women to win in categories and for black people to win in categories. It's really, really frustrating. So when you do get a chance to watch a guy like Sidney Poitier, it is special. It really is special. It's something to behold. He's awesome, and of course he got his Oscar win for Lilies of the Field, 1963. He became the first African American to win the Best Actor Oscar. And not a lot of black guys have won since then. So it's pretty frustrating to look at that part of it, because it doesn't reflect real life. When you have no diversity and no variety, that's just doesn't reflect real life.
I think it's unbelievable that while Sidney Poitier became the first African American to win Best Actor, it didn't happen again until Denzel Washington for Training Day in 2001.
35 years later. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Exactly. And then if I'm not mistaken, and then there was a 20-year gap for Best Actor.
No, there was Jamie Foxx and Ray.
Oh, there you go. And Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker, yeah.
And then after that, it was a big gap. Another big gap.
Has it happened again since?
Actually, no, it hasn't. I'm thinking Daniel Kaluuya, but he got supporting. So no.
Yeah.
Mahershala Ali got supporting. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's fucking annoying. It's just sad that we even have to have this conversation.
Four.
Yeah. No, I don't even want to start talking about your best screenplay, because those are even worse. Those, and again, it's not women as well. For us to be like, oh look, Chloe Zhao, like the second one, that's fucking crazy that we're even doing that. That we're even having that conversation. That's just her and Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
That's the shit that's why people are like, fuck the Oscars. And I get it.
Well, it's not just the lack of inclusion, but it's also the constant patting on the back of rewarding these racial themed movies and then acting like they're doing something so powerful. In the spotlight, they're shining, they're giving Best Picture to films like Crash and Green Book, but behind the scenes, 4. So they either don't care or they're completely oblivious. And I think it's somewhere in the middle, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, truly frustrating. And again, Poitier is a guy who broke like broke through and definitely inspired a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And then even in this crazy, you know, this conversation we're having, even he is going to get brought up on Oscar Sunday, because I really believe he was that talented. I think it's crazy that he wasn't up for In the Heat of the Night. That is just beyond me. Makes no goddamn sense. He's fucking amazing in that movie. So is Rod Steiger, but they're both great. And I can't believe that one. He's up for the Defiant Ones, and he got an honorary award in 2002. But yeah, just two real nominations in his whole career, and that's just not right.
I think, and this is sad, but I think that in order to break through in this environment, Poitier had to be amazing. He had to bring it every time. He had to be the most incredible actor possible. And he could. Like, the guy was so great at creating characters. His voice in the Defiant Ones is unlike any other character he ever played. I believed him. The guy was an incredible actor. He's still alive too, which is remarkable to me. So many from this generation are gone. But he's still here, and he's still, you know, just incredibly well respected. He's one of the most revered actors of all time, and he deserves all the praise. His performances, what I've seen, has all been just sensational.
Yeah, same here. There's, I believe right now, I don't know what it is. There's a collection, some of his performances on Criterion, and it just kind of always, he's one of those guys where I'm just kind of intrigued by the lore around him. I'm fascinated by the talent. I'm fascinated by just what he means to movie history. Yeah, he's awesome, man, and I'm glad we've brought up, you know, quite a few of his movies through this show, and that's not really going to stop. You know, anytime we get a chance to talk about, a guy who means so much to that Hays Code era, a guy who is like, no, fuck you, you know, I want to do this thing, you know, I want to act, and I'm good at it. And like you said, playing in this character in The Defiant Ones showed me he's just got tremendous range. He just okay, the guy really could kind of do anything. And that's always awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I would love a film about his life. I'm sure that'll happen at some point. I would love to learn about his, you know, I'm sure there were struggles in the beginning, you know, a black man wanting, you know, being the lead in Hollywood pictures in the 50s. I really wanted to watch Lilies of the Field before we did this episode, but, you know, I just did not have time. But, you know, there's always future episodes.
Yeah, it'll come up at some point for sure. Yeah, no doubt about that. It'll be a lot of fun to do his proper win one day on the show and just get to talk about that one. Again, Tony Curtis, Cara Williams, and Theodore Bikel. This is Defiant Ones is the only nomination they have. But we talked about Kramer. We talked about the two writers. Let's talk about I got three more people. Let's talk about Sam Levitt, the cinematographer. We talked about him just a few weeks ago because he was nominated for Best Cinematography, Anatomy of a Murder. And he won for the Defiant Ones. And then he was also nominated for Exodus. So he was at the Oscars 3 years in a row, 1959, 1960, 1961, all for cinematography. And I haven't seen Exodus, but I'll definitely say I enjoy what's going on more in Anatomy of a Murder.
Yeah, I agree.
But, you know.
Yeah, his filmography, very intriguing. He also did Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Cape Fear.
1962, yeah.
So cool. 54 is A Star Is Born. I didn't know he did that.
I didn't know that either. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's cool that, you know, these guys, they work so hard and they work so frequently. It's nice to kind of get to shine a spotlight on some of their best work.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially when it gets to kind of cross over to episodes we just did, because we have that. It's just kind of in the back of my mind. Well, Anatomy of Murder is always in the back of my mind, so it's always just kind of right here. There's no doubt about that. I was intrigued by this name, and once I kind of looked at his resume, I was kind of like, oh, I think I like this guy a lot. I do like this guy a lot, and I'm going to continue to look out for what he's doing. He's a production designer, art direction, stuff like that. His name's Rudolf Stannard. Judgment at Nuremberg, he was nominated for best art direction. He was also nominated for 1001 Nights and nominated for The Talk of the Town. So that's 20 years that he's got 3 nominations. But then you look at, oh, he's the production designer for fucking High Noon. Yeah. We already talked about that one, but it is incredible. And the production design in that is like grade A. It's like as perfect as it can get in a movie, where it's like not too simple, but it's minimalistic in this way, where it just shows you exactly what you need to know to kind of feel the environment, and what more could you want, you know?
And he did the exact thing with Inherit the Wind and Judgment at Nuremberg. Crafts, a perfect courtroom scenario, shows you just as much as you need to know about the town outside the courtroom, but where everything's going to be centered. It's the guy knew how to craft a story with design.
Yeah, and that's in the Defiant Ones. There were some times where when I'm watching movies, sometimes I just smile at where we are, and that happened a couple times, but not enough for me to be, writing home about it. We have covered some movies where I think I haven't talked about that part of it enough. Film like we did Boogie Nights and like Chinatown. Like these movies just look so fucking cool because they put the right couch there, like that shit fucking matters, And a lot of movies that I think we've talked about, I've kind of maybe skimmed over that when I know in my mind that's a huge part of why I like the movie. What would Wes Anderson be without the set design, production design, art direction? What that is his style. That is his filmmaking. Is things are kind of symmetrical but a little off, and lots of box sets, and that is his kind of his game. That's like the Wes Anderson genre is my movies look a certain way because of how they're set up.
Yeah,
and that shit's huge.
Totally. We've often talked about how the design of a film is really kind of it's your handshake to a movie. You visually check this place out and you're like, I like this or I don't like this. It's your first impression.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And another thing that can be kind of a first impression, especially with these 50s movies, because they always start with like a big piece of score, bang, bang. Check it out. That's why I love how The Incredibles does that, how Pixar does that with The Incredibles movies, how they start out, bam, bam. It's really funny. But Ernest Gold, the composer for The Defiant Ones, he's a guy we got to talk about. His resume is pretty cool. Worked on a lot of movies with Stanley Kramer, a lot of movies. It seems like Stanley the people he eats dinner with and hangs out with are the people he makes movies with.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, I was checking out On the Beach. That sounds incredibly intriguing.
Yeah. Oh, we have to see that movie. 1959, Ben-Hur just totally just destroys that year.
Yeah.
And so movies get lost that way. I think On the Beach is one that people have kind of held on to. That's actually still good and still kind of has lasted as an entertaining piece of work. Yeah, we have to we have to see that one. I also, from 1958, Separate Tables. I really want to see that movie. That's the one with Burt Lancaster. There's this is the name of the game though, man. We have to choose, and sometimes you wish maybe you chose something different.
I don't think so this time. I think I'm glad we finally watched this. I feel like it has already led to a lot of interesting talking points. So I think, so far, I think the biggest mistake we've made on this show has probably been Faces.
Yeah, but you got to talk about John Cassavetes at some point. Got to.
Yeah.
He's awesome, man. You're gonna like John Cassavetes more as an actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. He's a wonderful, wonderful performer. Yeah, Ernest Gold, composer here, nominated for On the Beach. He won for Exodus. Nominated for It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, best song and best score. And then he was nominated for The Secret of Santa Vittoria, and that was best score as well. So yeah, I mean, good stuff. And again, a kind of a Kramer guy. So keep you always going to be there when you're talking about the 50s, 60s, that kind of stuff. He's going to pop up.
Yes, indeed. God, hell of a resume. This is God.
Yeah, his outside of Oscar stuff is crazy.
I mean, just look at 1950 alone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 films in 1950 alone. Jesus. Beautiful.
102 music credits. Good God.
That's
from 1946 to, well, these can't be because he passed away 1980. It looks like the last one, 1988. Good Lord.
Yeah, I think those two are just samples at the end of in the 2018 there.
Yeah, because he passed away in 99. Yeah.
Used cars. That's great.
Yeah. I just saw that too. Oh man, I love it. Yeah, I love it. That was our last individual, but this is so much fun every week to kind of go through these people and learn stuff, connect things. Because obviously Rudolph, Ernest, Sam Levitt, Nedrick Young, Harold Jacob Smith, and Stanley Kramer, hung out and barbecued together and made movies. There's just they were working together all the time. That's awesome to kind of go to the same guys for different sets and stuff and working on different films. What a life.
That's exactly what Paul Thomas Anderson does today.
Yeah. Quentin Tarantino definitely likes to mess with some of the same people, and like, hey, I like you. I think you understand what I'm doing here. David Fincher definitely has worked with some of the same people. Spike Lee, fucking A. I mean, definitely. I love that about directors having their kind of their flavors that they want to stick with. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, that's why we keep coming back to them.
100%. And going to 1958, I gotta be honest, I'm not too well versed in this year as far as the Oscars go. Got a lot of work to do. The one I want to see is Separate Tables, but I haven't even seen Gigi, the Best Picture winner. This is one I'm just kind of just lacking that base knowledge. And there's 9 nominations here. I want to go through them at the 31st Academy Awards, but I don't know where you're at, but I just don't have a whole lot to say.
Looking at 1958, it feels like a test that I didn't study for because I've got nothing. I've seen Vertigo and I've seen the Defiant Ones. Like that's all I got.
I've seen like a little bit of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof when I was younger, but that's all I got. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Vertigo is obviously awesome, and from my perspective, would be a Best Picture nominee, but it's not there. I don't know. This is, like you said, kind of a test you're not ready for.
Well, might as well dig through the awards that the Defiant Ones got. Just kind of point them out. Not going to have a lot of competition to argue here because we got nothing to say here. But let's start with film editing.
Beautiful.
Best film editing. We have Anti-Mame, Cowboy, the Defiant Ones, I Want to Live, and the winner, Gigi. Okay.
Now this movie, Cowboy, it has Jack Lemmon, so I'm already kind of sold. Glenn Ford, Jack Lemmon. And anything that he's in, I will kind of watch. But the other ones don't really scream out my name.
I Want to Live sounds intriguing, especially for 1958. It's a biopic of a prostitute and a criminal who's convicted of murder and faces the death penalty, directed by Robert Wise.
Yeah, Robert Wise, and stars Theodore Bickle, who's in The Defiant Ones. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I would watch that. That poster is kind of cool.
Best director. Quick jump there. We've got Richard Brooks for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Stanley Kramer for The Defiant Ones, Robert Wise for I Want to Live, Mark Robson for The Inn of the Sixth Happiness, and the winner, Vincente Minnelli for Gigi. Gigi's one we're going to have to, it's a winner, so we'll do it eventually. I do have it. I found it. I got to see Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. That's early Paul Newman.
Yeah, I know. I've owned it for so long. I just haven't put on sat through it. Minnelli is someone who was brought up recently. I feel like I'm an American Paris won Best Picture as well. Probably Meet Me in St. Louis is what would have brought him up, because you and I have both seen that, right? Yeah. We watched that for. What did we watch that for?
That was for the Judy Garland Filmgazm Weird Shit Wednesday.
Way back, Jesus.
I feel like we brought him up more recently than that. There's something. Oh, this is gonna bug me.
An American, when we did African Queen.
Boom. There you go.
Yeah, had to be that 1951. Yeah, because that was I own that too, and I haven't seen it yet. So
I bought that as well. I'm kind of saving. I'm stockpiling like pre-1970s movies just for when they come up on this show, just so I have them ready.
So have those.
Like just today, I picked up The Country Girl, The Lost Weekend, and A Man for All Seasons, just because I know eventually I'm going to need them.
Eventually, yeah, for sure. And it's always good to have that. If we do that year, it's good to have some extra knowledge, extra info.
Exactly. Best Supporting Actress. We have Peggy Cass for Auntie Mame, Martha Heyer for Some Came Running, Maureen Stapleton for Lonely Hearts, Cara Williams for The Defiant Ones, and the winner, Wendy Hiller for Separate Tables. Cara Williams in The Defiant Ones is such a strange character. Just immediately falling in love with this convict who held her at gunpoint, demanded food. Immediately oh, he's hot. Not the best depiction of a woman in film. But whatever.
No. Yeah, no, I'm definitely, I believe Wendy Hiller, and I believe Separate Tables. I've heard great things about it. And I don't see Cara Williams being someone who could compete in really any year, it's not a top 5 supporting role out of any year that I know of, but
Maureen Stapleton won her Oscar for Reds. We covered that a few weeks ago. Maybe a month ago. My concept of time has changed greatly because of these podcasts.
That would have been Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
1981 Reds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when we did. Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark and Atlantic City and On Golden Pond. That's a pretty cool year.
Yeah, pretty cool. Speaking of, Raiders recently celebrated its 40th anniversary. So
yes, it did.
Yeah. Martha Heyer and Peggy Cass. I don't know those names, regrettably.
Peggy Cass. I've seen that before. I swear to God. Let's see, she was nominated for Academy Award, Golden Globe. I don't know. I feel like I've seen her name before. But the Best Actress category. Now we just saw I Want to Live. Susan Hayward, won the Oscar for that movie. So yeah, we got to see that, dude.
Yeah, that movie's it's literally screaming at me. The title has an exclamation mark.
And then, dude, Shirley MacLaine is awesome. Some Came Running. I'm in if she's in it.
Deborah Kerr, somebody we're going to be talking about next week. Hint, hint.
You're right. Yeah, there's Separate Tables, man. God damn it, I need to see that.
And I feel like you've been talking about that for quite a while. Separate Tables. It's haunting you.
I almost chose it for this episode. I was like, I want to do something from 1958. I almost chose it, but went with the Defiant Ones because I did think it would create just interesting conversations.
Well, you weren't wrong.
Yeah.
Best Supporting Actor. We have Theodore Bikel for The Defiant Ones, Lee J. Cobb for The Brothers Karamazov, Arthur Kennedy for Some Came Running, Gig Young for Teacher's Pet, and the winner, Burl Ives for The Big Country. Those are some loaded names. I recognize most of these guys. Lee J. Cobb, I fucking love.
Dude. 12 Angry Men. Yeah, just one of my favorite performances of all time.
He's guilty. You know he's guilty. Oh, great.
On the water. He's so fucking frightening and On the Waterfront. Oh, man.
Oh.
Yeah, that dude brought the pain. Yeah, 12 Angry Men, that was another 50s movie we did a while back. We picked some cool ones from this era.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to celebrate, a decade's worth of film, you got to go with the greatest hits.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Best Picture Showdown provides that you're going to get 4 other movies out of it, so that's always good.
I did not enjoy Theodore Bickel's performance in The Defiant Ones. I don't know why he's here. It is so one note.
It makes full sense. Yeah.
Ugh. I would have at least, if I was going to do supporting actor, I would have maybe gone with well, no one really. Like, there isn't a supporting actor in this movie who kind of deserves a nomination.
No.
Yeah, I don't get it. Big Country. Interesting. William Wyler, Gregory Peck, Charlton Heston. Holy shit. That's something we should probably put on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely need to see this.
Oh boy. All right. Best actor. This is all 5 of these men are phenomenal performers. We've got Tony Curtis for The Defiant Ones, Paul Newman for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Sidney Poitier for The Defiant Ones, Spencer Tracy for The Old Man in the Sea, and the winner, David Niven for Separate Tables. Damn. Wow. David Niven, a guy I recently really enjoyed after I watched The Bishop's Wife this past Christmas. So definitely a guy I want to check out. And there's your Separate Tables again.
Yep. There's another win for Separate Tables. Yeah. Man, David Niven, talk about a strong mustache.
Oh boy. Oh yeah.
Look at this guy. No, that's an absolute must. And like you said, these guys are they're all multiple Oscar-nominated people except for Tony Curtis. Spencer Tracy is a fucking legend. Paul Newman's one of the most famous, good-looking actors to ever live. Like, people don't possess that anymore. Like Harrison Ford had it, but I don't know who has it now. It's just very hard to come by. Maybe Leo. I don't know.
I think Leo did have it. I think he's starting to, slob up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Maybe like 15 years ago. Like Departed, like around then was when he was kind of like, man, this guy's just kind of the king.
Brad Pitt still got it though.
Brad Pitt will always have it. Yeah. He's got that Robert Redford shit going on, where you're just like, holy buckets. This guy is just oozing with just talent and grace for the screen. He really is. It's definitely a good comparison to Paul Newman for sure.
True. David Niven's performance in Separate Tables has got to be something really special to defeat these 4 men. I got to see this movie. We got to do this. Next time we're in the 50s, Separate Tables.
I'm going to watch Separate Tables because it'll be a long time before we're back in the 50s. Because we got so many other decades to do. I'm going to have to watch that on my own time because it's just it. And I want to live. Those two are I want to find a way to watch them. Yeah, like soon.
Oh yeah,
because that's kind of how I feel about both of them right now. Yeah, awesome group. Sidney Poitier, love to see him there.
Yeah, the first Black man to be nominated for Best Actor, right there, and lost to maybe the whitest man in that group.
Yeah. That's English guy who was also known as a novelist. Yeah. David Niven, that's great.
James David Graham Niven.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Before we get to the two wins, Best Picture, we have Anti-Mame, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, The Defiant Ones, Separate Tables, and the winner, Gigi, which I have no idea what that's about, but it destroyed at this Oscars.
It's a music. It's cool. Just a like rom-com musical. Yeah, not. It's classic MGM. Fucking yeah. Not just doesn't. It's not up our alley. It's not something that we feel like inclined to watch just for fun. It's not really one of those Best Picture winners. Like and you and I are not. We're not West Side Story guys. This is like that is just we're not really into that kind of filmmaking. That doesn't mean all musicals are bad. It just means during that era, a lot of them just feel so redundant and so similar. And it's just I don't have 2.5 hours for all of those. I do have 2.5 hours for In the Heights, which seems like it's going to be different and cool and provide some diversity. I'll watch that.
Yeah, don't miss the sneak preview this Monday.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
So with that, we've got the two wins. We've got Best Cinematography, Black and White. We've got Desire Under the Elms, I Want to Live, Separate Tables, The Young Lions, and the winner, The Defiant Ones. The Young Lions is a World War II film starring Marlon Brando, Montgomery Clift, and Dean Martin. Holy shit. How have I not heard of this?
God damn it. That's great. I haven't heard of that either. That's who's that? Who is that? Dimitri? Have I seen that name before? That director?
Edward Dimitri. I don't know that name.
No, I don't think I know that one either. Yeah, that definitely looks like a film we would enjoy.
Oh hell yeah. And Best Original Screenplay. We have The Goddess, Houseboat, The Sheep Man, Teacher's Pet, and the winner, The Defiant Ones. I've not heard of those four films ever.
Heard of The Goddess because of Patty. That guy's kind of a legend when it comes to the old screenplay.
These all seem kind of weak. I don't think that was a very strong screenplay year.
It doesn't seem that way, right? But yeah, I'll kind of. I've got so many of Patty Chayefsky's films like in my brain. Network would be the one that I like that I'm a fan of, and there's so many movies that I need to see, like Marty, 1955. That's not a movie I've seen yet, and he wrote that one. I think he's got a weird statistic to his name when it comes to the Oscars. I think he's the only solo writer to win 3 screenplay awards. I think.
Wow.
I'm almost positive on that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he is the only solo writer to win 3 screenplay. Marty, The Hospital, and Network.
Shit, I didn't know he did Network. That's awesome.
Yeah, your Network. Yeah, fucking amen. We didn't give that movie enough credit when we were doing Rocky way back when. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing really. It was hard to divvy up. We didn't know how to divvy up time to different things, and now it's just a free flowing, kind of conversation while just looking at these. But yeah, Network is so goddamn good. And 1976, the more time passes, Rocky, Taxi Driver, and Network. Fuck, those movies are awesome.
It's kind of, we did the same thing with Filmgazm and Oscar Sunday. We kind of just started blind and figured our way through it. I feel like Sneak Preview was pretty well established. Like we knew exactly what that was going to be. But these other two have been a pretty exciting learning experience.
100%, man. I love kind of adapting, knowing, hey, this might make more sense. We'll get to talk about things if we do this, and anything for it to be entertaining and also just kind of like you said, a learning process is kind of the goal. Man, those are the two wins, and the screenplay is good, but it's not like crazy good for Defiant Ones. It's not one of those screenplay winners that's like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Like when like I remember when Tarantino won for Django, he was like, this year is going to be remembered as the year for screenplay, and it's just not at all. 2012, no. Like Silver Linings Playbook and these different movies just haven't. It's so funny. In the moment, you think this is the one, and then time passes and things just change. Man, movies change. Your perspective on it changes.
I do think Tarantino totally deserved that win for Django, but he is in that phrase like, this is going to be the year for screenplay. I feel like he's cutting out because of me.
Yeah,
yeah. Like I won, and no one will ever forget this. Like that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, hilarious. Gotta love it. Yeah, man. Well, you got anything else about these 1958 movies?
Not really. Seems like kind of an underwhelming year, apart from maybe a couple gems we have to discover for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's pretty clear that that Separate Tables is the one, and I Want to Live. Those are movies we definitely have on our list here. I just read Gigi, the Best Picture winner, was the last film until The Last Emperor to win Best Picture without any acting nominations. Parasite also did that. 2019, no acting nominations. I can't stand that. I hate when that happens.
I know.
If a movie is up for Best Picture or wins Best Picture, you would think there's someone in it who like levels the movie up to a totally different place, but whatever.
Yeah, it's odd. I mean, Parasite alone deserves, the whole enchilada. I mean, that film should have, one in every category with multiple wins. But here we are.
Yeah, it did. Bong Joon-ho did get to walk the stage 4 times, so
with 4 separate speeches. I love that.
Yeah, brilliant, fucking brilliant. Well, that's a good segue to our awards. For the Defiant Ones, we got the Tarantino. It's funny for best line or quote. We have the Ennio Morricone for best music moment. We got the Philip Seymour Hoffman for best performance of the movie, and we got the Roger Deakins Award to finish us off with the best scene or best moment of the movie. I actually had fun. The one I picked for Tarantino, I really like. I'm really very curious to see where you went with this one.
I've got a bit of a snippet from the first argument between Cullen and Joker, and it's pretty. It's a little on the nose, but this whole movie's a little bit on the nose. We're talking about the animals in the forest, and Cullen kind of implies that Joker is a bit of a weasel, and he says, "You calling me a weasel?" And Poitier responds, "No, I'm calling you a white man." Like, it made sense in context of the argument, and I liked that. I was like, you probably could have figured out a little subtext there instead of just being like, "You're evil." But I get it. And I liked the moment. It was a good moment, so I went with that.
Yeah, it's good to see Cullen in the driver's seat, right? Yeah. There's moments where he just kind of outwits him or outsmarts him, and it does pay off a few times. And I also went with something similar to that. It's at one point when they're kind of running, and Sidney Poitier, he says, "You married me, all right, Joker. Now here's the ring." And he like holds up the chains, and he says, "But I ain't going south on no honeymoon now." fucking crazy. Super 50s, super Poitier too. He looks like he's just having fun with this, and he's like, "I'm just gonna yell a little bit." So yeah, I kind of was in a similar mindset to you.
Yeah, I do want to throw out an honorable mention just because I didn't. This is one of the few films pre 1960 where they openly use the N-word and actually talk about it. Like, why? Like he asks, like that. He says that word bothers me, and he's like, "Why? It's what you are." And they have that conversation, and I liked that conversation because it actually like brought up, but then it didn't really go anywhere. Like I was expecting that to lead into like a wider revelation, and it didn't. That's
just
why it
stopped.
didn't make.
like you said, this movie. What did you say? It's like playing tag, and you always have one hand on base. Yeah, that's exactly what it is in those moments.
Yeah,
it that's okay though. Like you kind of expect it, right? With these Oscar movies, you have a little bit of hope there. Ennio Morricone, did you choose something from Ernest Gold's score or something a little bit different?
I'm assuming his score was like the bits of jazz playing with the cops, right? Because that was it.
Yeah, I was like, what score, right? Yeah, there's like a bit of an intro, kind of, but not really, and then yeah, some kind of light jazzy stuff happening.
Quick fun fact: I read in the trivia that the kid with the radio was the original Alfalfa from the Little Rascals.
Whoa,
kind of neat,
crazy. Yeah, had no idea.
I picked the moment at the end of the film when Cullen is singing "Long Gone" with Joker in his arms, as just kind of accepted defeat and is like, "Fuck it, I'm going out singing." Like, I know that like he's probably gonna die going back to prison. He escaped. He's a black man. He's probably not making it out of this, and he knows that. And Joker, looking in his eyes, knows that too. And they kind of just have this moment of like, this moment belongs to us. They can't take it away from us. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. I chose the exact same thing. Bowling Green, like it's really crazy acting. All the singing he's doing, like sewing machine, and he's just kind of lost.
Yeah.
I felt something with the ending. How it's a little bit ambiguous, and you have Sidney kind of just taking the movie by the balls at the end. I thought that was a cool choice. And I wish more of the movie would have been kind of a little bit more against the grain than like that.
Yeah.
But Sidney doing those things is totally, for me, what kind of saves the movie. There are a few times when he just kind of embodies like what it means to go inside of a character and become them. And he does it a few times. He does it a few times as Cullen. And I think when he's singing is you really, like you said, you feel him kind of looking down the barrel, like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna go down just kind of like crying or laying down or whatever. I'm gonna kind of be me. and that was pretty goddamn satisfying.
Well, that's been his whole character the entire movie. Like from the beginning when he's, singing in the truck and everyone's telling him to shut up and he just won't, because he's a man who's taking charge of his own life and he refuses to let anybody spit on him. And I love that, especially in this environment, to be chained to a white man and still be like, taking charge of the situation. It's a very complex and interesting character. And I wish that they'd explored a bit more into like who he is, why he's here, what he, wants out of this. I mean, we do have that conversation where he talks about, attacking the man who was on his property. But I wanted more. I really wanted more.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think Cullen is a really cool character, and they're from the very beginning, like you said, when he's singing in the truck and the truck fucking has an accident or whatever, and that's how they're able to escape. I was really intrigued. I was like, here we go. This is going to be fucking good, And it just didn't continuously deliver. It just was here and there, and
yeah.
But I think it's well, I don't know actually. For me, the PSH was easy. But I don't know about you. I don't know if you think Tony Curtis is doing enough there to beat Sidney. But for me, it's got to be Poitier.
Yeah, it's Poitier. It's he's really giving it his all here. Tony Curtis is good, but he can't upstage Sidney Poitier. He just can't. He can't do it. No one can.
No.
As far as like the supporting, performances go, Lon Chaney Jr. has a great moment. It's just cool. It's always cool to see him outside the Wolfman. But again, another character who really wasn't explored. We get the idea that he was also on a chain gang, but that doesn't seem like enough motivation to risk his life stopping a lynching, Like there should have been more exploration there. But yeah, no one does better than Sidney here.
No, not at all. From the way he's speaking to the way he kind of at times is just making you believe everything he's doing with the chains, with being with Tony Curtis, and then to kind of the physical aspect of this movie.
Yeah,
they're both kind of giving it their all. I really admire what Sidney's doing, both physically and with just his words, the way he's talking. Tony Curtis, though, man, good solid performance, and like you said earlier, I didn't think neither of us thought he had that in him. So we said that kind of at the top of the show, and that's something that always I'm always going to carry with me when I watched a guy. Oh, this is his only Oscar nomination. Why? Oh, that was actually pretty good. I kind of dig that. That's always good. That's always satisfying.
Yeah, he's Charlie Potatoes. He's right. He's on top. Yeah. That always made me laugh. He kept bringing that up. Like I looked it up. It's it's an old timey term for like, cock of the walk, the guy who's got it all made. Charlie Potatoes.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love that. Love it.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh man. Well, we're in a similar place here with most of these. We both chose that moment where he's singing from the Ennio. We both chose Poitier. So what's your Deacons?
For the longest time I had it as the scene where they climbed out of the pit. Because it was their first moment where they really needed each other. And I believe that like the pull, like it felt like they were ripping their arms off. Like you really felt that. But then later on, I got another scene, and I actually picked a Tony Curtis scene for my Deacons. It's Joker and the woman are about to embark on a Mexico journey or whatever, and she reveals that she gave Cullen the wrong directions to the swamp, so he'll die and not talk. And Joker's like, why the hell would you do that? Why would you do that? Like he has a moment of like, he's gonna die. Like he really reveals that he cares about Cullen and he doesn't want to see this happen. He gives up his means of escape. He was gonna go, but he's like, I can't let him die. And even she's like, why? He's it's just him. And like, we can be somebody. And I love Joker's like, you don't even know who I am. Like, you don't know me at all. Like, he really points out how absurd this all is. And then he goes and saves or tries to save Cullen and gets shot in the process. Like, I liked his moment of like, I can't let this happen. Like his first really like strike of conscience of like, he saved my life. I can't let him die. I can't do this. It was a good kind of final act of redemption on his part.
God damn. I wrote down pretty much the same thing. I wrote down what I put down for my Deacons was Cullen when he's screaming out trying to find him. And that goes along with what happens right before. And my favorite shot of the whole movie is when he sees him and Cullen is just sitting there smoking a cigarette. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, dude, like, why? Like, why are you following me, man? And he's like, no, she lied to you, dude. Like, it's such a fucking. It felt like I was watching for a minute Andy Dufresne in Red from Shawshank. It felt like so familiar cinematically. It felt so goddamn familiar. And I like that. I like those layers in filmmaking where you can see a kind of a sort of trope that's not something that's copied over and over, but it's just slightly changed depending on the filmmaker. And I loved this version of it. I thought it was worth it getting there when like her reaction is so crazy. Just like, no, like, and it's like you said, she just has this assumption that everyone would want this black guy to just fucking get out of here, and who cares if he dies? Yeah, but that is her thought. That's just her general thought. Well, and like that's fucking nuts. That's fucking nuts. And it's cool to see Joker finally be like, holy shit! Like, holy shit! I've thought that way. I'm gonna stop now. And, that's that's not really cheap. There's movies in this moments in this movie that are cheap. That's not. That felt worthy of that scene and worthy of him going and finding him and Colin being like, "What's up, dude? Like, what's going on?"
Well, it's kind of set up from the moment we meet this woman where she, they demand food and she just gives Tony Curtis food. And he's like, "What about his?" She's like glares at him like, "What? Why would I do that?" Like, it's just assumed like no black man's going to eat in this house ever. Like, that's just like an automatic, known rule. And it's so fucked up. But even in that moment, Tony Curtis is like, "No, get him some food right now." Like, yeah, it's building up towards a revelation that he really does care. And it's well done. I think it's weird that Billy just straight up shoots him out of the blue. that was a little odd. But I did appreciate that this film doesn't have a literal "we're not so different, you and I" moment. It's really kind of built up gradually. It's not just like, you're black and I'm white, but somehow it all works out. Like, they don't have that moment that all of these movies seem to have. It's just kind of assumed. Like, it's built up in a natural way, and I did appreciate that. Yeah,
it's definitely a part of the story that does kind of work. I think my main frustration is because I do not mind a movie that's based around two guys. It's just kind of like a hangout movie. I don't mind that one bit. I actually love that. The Lighthouse is one of my very favorite movies from the past decade. It can be done. It can be done. It's been done many, many times. I think my problem is bringing up new characters or giving them screen time without really having a vision for them or having a vision for why they affect our two main characters.
Yeah.
And that's something I'll have to grapple with. Maybe a rewatch will help give me a little bit of clarity. But yeah, it's a solid 7 for me. I think the performances are good. I think Sidney is out of this world. But overall, the vision is just kind of lacking on what it really wants to say and kind of committing to that. Because again, we clearly like some moments from the film and very much appreciate those two main performances.
I agree. It's a 7 for me. It was an 8, but the more I talked about it, it's a 7. I think this film's biggest issue for me is the cops. I think that whole bit of the movie is so underused and just weak. I mean, we have a cop who's basically just like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll get him." Like, just no rush, no sense of urgency. Just like, we don't need the dogs. We'll figure this out. Like,
yeah,
what? We need like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive here. Like, I want a like hell bent, I'm gonna get them or die trying cop. I mean, imagine like this movie would be so much cooler if you actually had like a real threat after them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you want it to be a chase movie. You want them on the run, really on the run, and it's not totally what we got. There are moments, but yeah, again, just not all the way put together. But I have a feeling next week's film will be put together quite nicely.
Well, from what I hear, it's considered one of the greatest films of the 20th century. So we will find out.
We will find out. We have covered. Now we've done. Let's see if I can remember. We did Rashomon from 1950. We did The African Queen, 1951. We did High Noon, 1952. We've done Rear Window and On the Waterfront for 1954. 1955. Maybe we haven't done that one, but we did La Strada. That's 1956, I think. The Ten Commandments is 1956. We did 12 Angry Men, 1957. We did today Defiant Ones, 1958. We did Anatomy of a Murder, 1959. We've done a lot of 50s movies. But 1953 is a year that we have yet to get to, I believe.
Yeah, this is uncharted territory.
So, if you know, you know. From Here to Fucking Eternity won that year. Like Connor said, it is a critically acclaimed film, is how you could say. I have not ever seen it. I still haven't seen it. We've both been doing our work watching the other 4 movies from that year, but From Here to Eternity is the last one I really have to cross off my list for next week's episode. And I am so excited because it's a movie that, of course, a Best Picture winner, but not only that, I've heard that it is still so good. You know, there's movies like Gigi that don't really have a cultural like thing about them now, 70 years later. Yeah. From Here to Eternity is still a movie that people say, oh, fucking A, this is a masterpiece. And I can't wait for next week's Best Picture Showdown, 1953.
Hell yeah. And because it is a Best Picture Showdown, we will be ranking and discussing the other 4 films it was up against, which are Julius Caesar, The Robe, Roman Holiday, and Shane. So, yeah, sure to be a very interesting discussion next week. I fucking love the Best Picture Showdowns.
Oh, dude, ranking them is so much fun. Giving them, a proper 1 through 5 is a blast. That's when you really get to put stuff into context and have an opinion on the show. So next week will be much different than this one. We're gonna have a lot more to say about the show, the ceremony. But I had fun here on episode 54, man. Defiant Ones. It's a movie that I'm definitely glad I've seen. You know, and I do recommend it to people. I just personally don't think, I mean, Rear Window is a 10. It's hard to kind of follow that up. But The African Queen, I believe I also gave that a 7. It's been for the 50s. It's been for me, Anatomy of a Murder, absolute classic, and then African Queen, not bad but not great, and then an absolute classic in Rear Window, and then today Defiant Ones, not bad but not great either. And next week, I'm hoping we get my favorite one of the group next week. I can't wait.
I'm not at all worried. We got Burt Lancaster, we got Frank Sinatra, we got Deborah Kerr. This is going to be fun. I'm very much looking forward to From Here to Eternity. It's a film I've always wanted to watch, and now I finally have a reason to. So this is going to be just fantastic. Episode 55.
Yeah, episode 5, man. It's gonna be epic. This is also a movie that you bought, and then you bought a copy for me, so we both own it. We're fucking ready. Bring up our one of our favorite directors, Fred Zinnemann. Gotta love it. I can't wait. I mean, this is kind of what we live for in this show, is being able to knock off movies like this and give them awards and talk about what we like and don't like about it. This is what we live for here on Oscar Sunday.
Oh, fuck yeah. Don't miss In the Heights on Monday's sneak preview this week, and on Wednesday's Filmgazm, Caleb and I will be digging into David Cronenberg's Videodrome. So be sure to get that one. Going to be really weird. Dude. Always fun to do Cronenberg.
Awesome. He's the man.
Yeah.
Oscar Sunday, not the easiest show to bring up a guy like David Cronenberg, but he is totally one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. Especially when it comes to like genre films. He's the man, dude. I have yet to be disappointed by anything he's done.
Well, I mean, if we're talking Oscar nominated, we've got History of Violence, we've got Eastern Promises, we've got The Fly, so it could happen.
Yeah. I'm cool with The Fly. I like the later stuff, but man, it's all about that The Brood. It's about those movies are the ones that and The Fly is great. I would love to do that on here, but it's also so good for Filmgazm, so it's tough.
It is weird. Somewhere around like the late 80s, he just kind of shifted gears and started doing a little bit more dramatic stuff. I'd like them to kind of go right back to freakish body horror and give us something really memorable again. That would be sweet.
I think his son is going to start doing that now after Possessor. He's going to take that mantle.
So cool. Yeah. Can't wait to talk about that on Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed The Defiant Ones. Go see it. It's hard to actually get streaming. You can rent it on Vudu or Amazon Prime if you got that. Other than that, good luck. It's a pretty tough film to find.
Yeah, definitely. I think Prime is it's like $2.99. So yeah, it'll be worth your time.
Totally. From Here to Eternity next week. This is a blast, and then a whole new decade for 5 more episodes of Oscar Sunday. Can't wait.
Beautiful.
Have a good one and keep watching movies, everyone.